This video is brought to you by Mubi, a curated streaming service showcasing exceptional films from all over the world. Get an entire month free right now by going to mubi.com/entertaintheelk. Japanese director Akira Kurosawa had an impact on film that's still felt today. If you haven't seen one of his films, you've certainly seen the ones he inspired. The Seven Samurai led to The Magnificent Seven, Yojimbo led to the foundation for A Fistful of Dollars. Even The Hidden Fortress inspired George Lucas when he was making Star Wars. But it was his 1950 film Rashomon that first established Kurosawa, showcasing his talent to the world. Playing at the Venice Film Festival and receiving an Academy Award in 1952, Rashomon became this pivotal film in Kurosawa's career, not only because it helped establish him as a global director, but for the way it examined and questioned truth. Set during the feudal era of medieval Japan, Rashomon centers around a man's murder and the rape of his wife. The events are played out 4 times from 4 different perspectives: the bandit, the wife, the samurai, and the woodcutter. And Rashomon portrays each character's contradictory interpretation as a possible truth. As the audience, we no longer have omnipotent knowledge of the narrative, nor are we subjected to only see the story through the eyes of our protagonist. Instead, we are the jury. We are the ones who must decide what is true. Situations like these are now referred to as the Rashomon effect. The bandit's story claims that he tricked the samurai off the mountain trail with a promise of goods he discovered, only to tie him up to a tree. He then seduced the wife. But afterwards, full of regret, the wife begged the bandit to duel her husband to the death so only one person would know her shame. By his own account, the bandit honorably set the samurai free and dueled with him. He highlights the skill of his opponent only to better his own legend. The bandit goes on to say that he eventually killed the samurai as the wife ran away. The wife tells a different story, one where the bandit fled after raping her. As she begged for her husband's forgiveness, his cold, emotionless stare of resentment disturbed her so much that she fainted with the dagger in her hand and awoke to find her husband dead with the dagger in his chest. The samurai's story, told through a medium, describes how the bandit asked his wife to travel with him after having raped her. She accepted, but asked the bandit to kill her husband so that way she wouldn't feel the guilt of belonging to 2 men. Shocked at this request, the bandit asked the samurai if he would like him to kill his wife or let him go. The wife fled, and the bandit let the samurai free. All alone, he stabbed himself in the chest with the dagger, but that dagger is now missing. Each is a story that makes the teller out to be the honorable hero who makes the killing blow. And just as we're left wondering what is the truth, the woodcutter reveals that he actually witnessed everything, and his version is the actual truth, since he has no reason to lie. In the woodcutter's version, the bandit pleaded for the wife to marry him after having raped her. The wife freed her husband, but he didn't want to fight for a now spoiled woman. The wife belittled both men, saying that a real honorable man would fight for a woman's love. The bandit and samurai reluctantly fought, but the duel is much more pitiful, clumsy, and awkward than the bandit's account. The bandit won through dumb luck, and the woman fled. Just as we begin to accept this as truth, it's revealed that the woodcutter withheld the fact that he was the one who stole the dagger that killed the samurai. That lie taints his entire story, leaving us to wonder what else is a lie. The only truth is that the truth is uncertain. Kurosawa seems to leave every depiction with a questionable narrative. He uses consistent motifs to establish the same weight to each story. Whenever a character reveals their interpretation, they perform a monologue to the jury, which takes the form of a close-up, delivered straight up to the camera. We never see the jury, therefore this becomes the position of the audience. However, it's important to note that these testimonies are being recounted from the memory of the monk and the woodcutter, since they were witnesses at the trial. It's characters telling their interpretation of other characters' interpretations. Again, it muddies up the truth. Famously, when people on set would ask Kurosawa which of the stories was the actual truth, he would tell them that the film was intended to be an exploration of multiple realities, not an exploration or journey to discover the facts. In many ways, Kurosawa is explicitly stating that this film has no truth. We cannot say that one person's interpretation is accurate. That's not the point of the film. The film is trying to reveal that an event can be experienced differently by various people. Your life experiences, your personal ideology, and your thoughts and feelings can affect how you perceive something. If these characters really did experience the events as they testify, then who are we to say that they're wrong? To better understand Rashomon, you must first understand the context in which it was made. Rashomon was based on the short story In a Grove by Ryunosuke Akutagawa, which essentially tells the same story as Rashomon, using the same framing device seen in the film. The book also has no clear resolution. The title of the film was taken from another short story of Akutagawa's with the same name that depicts a story about theft. Various characters interact at the Kyoto Gate, which is used in the film as the place where the woodcutter and the monk tell their version of the trial they witnessed. Interestingly, this story contemplates the ideas of right and wrong. A woman is found stealing the hair from dead bodies, while a man looks at her in disgrace. But she reveals that she uses the hair to make wigs. It's the only way she can survive. She steals, but she has no other option. In the film, Kurosawa combines these two areas of inquiry. He takes In a Grove's exploration of truth and combines it with Rashomon's exploration of right and wrong. The woodcutter changes his story to ignore the fact that he stole a precious dagger, but we also learn that he has a large family to feed, but barely any money. Is he wrong for taking the dagger from the dead samurai? These philosophical questions also pose a darker truth, a truth that Kurosawa would have experienced firsthand. In 1950, Japan was still occupied by America, and film was a heavily censored medium. Essentially, America banned any pro-Japanese movies from being made. Instead, they wanted what they referred to as idea films, films that promoted pro-American ideologies. Talk of the atomic bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki wasn't permitted, and period films such as samurai films weren't allowed either. These films romanticized a pure Japan, a traditional Japan, and that was not allowed. It was a troublesome period for artists. However, Rashomon seemed to find a way around this ban. In the post-war period, many people debated who was right and who was wrong. Each nation had a different perspective of the war. For America, the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki was a justified retaliation. It helped end the war. For Japan, the bombing was an unjustified attack on a civilian population against a nation that had already lost. Both sides had their own interpretation, and neither can really claim to be right or wrong. The experience people had of the war differs, and who can tell them that they did not experience it like that? It starts to make sense then why Kurosawa was possibly enamored by this narrative at the time, at a time when he was unable to talk about the war. He chose to make a film that questioned our understanding of truth, perception, and morality. In all four of the witnesses' stories, the only consistent truth, beyond the obvious that a murder took place, is that these people witnessed it. Who was right and who was wrong is something we must decide for ourselves. And that's exactly what civilians of the war had to do. All they could do was decide for themselves. There is no right or wrong answer, just the truth that we choose. I'm embarrassed to admit this, but my experience with Japanese cinema is really low. Rashomon is the first Kurosawa film I've seen, and I've now seen a few Miyazaki masterpieces, but there's still so much out there to discover. Thankfully, I have Mubi to help me on my journey. Mubi is a curated streaming service showcasing beautiful and interesting films from all over the world. Every day, Mubi premieres a new film, from iconic directors to emerging auteurs, and from dozens of countries around the world, there's always something new to discover. It's like your own personal film festival, streaming anytime, anywhere. I want to learn more about Japanese cinema, and thanks to Mubi, that's really easy. Right now in the US, they're streaming Anti-Porno, The Third Murder, Wife of a Spy, Blade of the Immortal, and so many more. And that's just Japanese films. There's still a ton of interesting and beautiful films from all over the world for you to discover. So again, go to Mubi.com/entertaintheelk right now in order to get an entire month free and check out everything that Mubi has to offer at zero risk to your wallet. Thanks again for watching. I love getting to partner with Mubi. They're seriously a wonderful company that supports foreign films that need more love. So really, go check them out. Support foreign and independent films, but also support Entertain the Elk in my relationship with Mubi by using my code. As always, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and click that stupid bell below so you're notified whenever a new video comes out. Otherwise, YouTube just won't share it with you. You know at this point, but just do something to engage with this video to appease the algorithm gods. So that way they'll push it off and send it to more people so they can see this video. A quick thank you to my patrons for their continued support to the channel. If you want to support Entertain the Elk, go check out my Patreon page below and see all the tiers of rewards that are available to you. Thanks again everyone for watching, and I'll see you all next time.